Welcome back to the show. Time now to talk Arkansas basketball. And of course, that means we are bringing in our Kevin McPherson, joining us as our basketball insider. And Kevin, we continue to talk about the class of 2021 because they got a commitment in Chance Moore and Akolma Wayne. And that's the first two commitments for that class of 2021.
Yeah, listen, you know what? Those commitments came down in about a 3-day span. And look, a couple of weeks ago, Musselman, during a Zoom presser with the media, talked about being more deliberate in class of 2021 recruiting and not to expect the kind of splash they got, you know, in the early period the year before when you had 4 of those 2020 top 100 kids from Arkansas, ESPN's number 5 class, all committed by the early signing period. And then he turns around and, like we just mentioned, 2 commitments and basically a 3-day span. It started with ESPN National Top 50 Chance Moore, 6'5" wing out of the Atlanta area. And listen, Chance Moore is a really good basketball player. Played at one of the prestigious schools, McPherson, down in Georgia. He transferred there early in the year last year, but is a guy that, when I look at his length at 6'5", his ability to slash to the basket, battle around the basket, and he's a good spot-up three-point shooter, so a versatile guy that never took an official or unofficial visit to Arkansas, but as we know, last weekend came in to visit Fayetteville, and that's when he committed on Saturday. And then on Tuesday, Akolma Wayne, who I got to cover in Arkansas high school basketball for his junior and senior seasons, an Australian who's originally from the Sudan, 6'8", 6'9", I think he's up to 6'9" now, combo forward, very versatile guy. But now he spent his last year at Navarro College JUCO and had a really strong freshman season, especially the second half of that season where he put up really big numbers, but, you know, considered by 247 Sports to be the number 2 JUCO player in the country. But he commits on Tuesday. He announced it Wednesday morning. So in a short order, after talking about being extremely patient in this recruiting this class, especially, again, with no live evals, Musselman turns 2 big-time players. And then we fast forward to Friday, just a few days ago, and Jonathan Lawson, the Gatorade Tennessee High School Player of the Year last year as a junior, averaged over 27 points, 11 rebounds, and 6 or 7 assists. But another ESPN Top 50 guy, high-level 4-star, 6'6", and I'm going to call him a versatile combo guard. He can do a lot of things. But again, coming out of the Memphis area, Arkansas really hasn't struck gold there in years. It used to pay off in Arkansas recruiting, but Musselman's now in the top 5 for Jonathan Lawson, who comes from a basketball family. His older brother started at Memphis, his 2 older brothers, ended up at Kansas. The third oldest brother was a freshman last year at Oregon. So this is a big-time basketball family. And his dad played high school basketball with Razorbacks icon Todd Day back in the day. And Todd told me, he said, look, Jonathan Lawson, out of all those basketball players that play at a high level in that family, he maybe end up being the best of all. So Arkansas cracks his top 5, along with Alabama, Vanderbilt, Iowa State, and Oregon. So keep an eye on that as Arkansas recruiting for 2021 has now really heated up after we thought maybe a couple of weeks ago it may be slow for a while.
Hey, you know what? A lot to be excited about with this class of 2021, but let's not get ahead of ourselves, Kevin, because this class of 2020 that just came in, along with the pieces Arkansas already had, including Isaiah Joe, continue to practice, continue to get better, and this is a team, again, I've said it before, cannot wait to see them play for real in Bud Walton.
Absolutely, and they just wrapped up last week's. That was week 4 of training camp, and what we've seen really, and you watch the videos that the men's basketball program puts out on social media, you're starting to see more and more of the transitioning into live contact. Now, I don't know if it's all been full contact, but there's definitely some partial contact, but live competition, 5-on-5. So different variations as they install their game plan. But you start looking at some of the things that have come out, even in the last week. They put out some highlights of guys like Desi Sills, Moses Moody, and KK Robinson. You mentioned the 2020 class. Those last 2 names I mentioned are a big part of that class. But you start to see some of the individual pieces come together, but also the philosophy that Musselman has in practice. You get sort of that feel of the culture that he's building there, not only in how he teaches players and how he expects them to learn, but it's not just about evaluating them as individuals. He's looking at different personnel combinations. He's looking at scenarios in situational scenarios and how players respond to that. So you can pick a little bit of interesting things and tidbits out of those. Now, one other thing I'll mention, in late July, the university announced that not only J.D. Note, the junior guard, but Bebe Iola, the junior forward, both of those guys sat out transfers last year and are expected to make their debuts this season as Hogs. They put out injury reports on those guys in late July. And for Iola, he's out 5 to 6 months. The earliest he might come back is December. But Note, who has an injured left wrist, they talked about potentially 2 to 3 weeks out. So now that we have really kind of moved outside that 2-week part of that time frame, a source told me he still has not returned to practice, and there's not a set timetable for when he will. Again, the 2 to 3 week thing is an expectation. It's not necessarily set in stone. So we'll keep an eye on to see when Note returns. But he's a guy I've got projected in that top 7 to 8 rotation, the 6'2" combo guard who transferred from Jacksonville after 2 years.
Well, I'll tell you what, Kevin, I know a lot of talk right now is about football season, but let's not forget basketball season right around the corner as well, and a lot of excitement around this 2020 basketball team. Thanks so much for all the insight, Kevin. We always appreciate it every week.
Thanks, Alyssa. Good to be with you guys as always.
Take care, and the Pictorial Show will be back after this.